Hey, what's going on YouTube? Kyle with the Card Guys. Joined with Mr. Willie B himself, Will Bradshaw. We're at Showcase Games. Shout out to Showcase. Fucking, it's always the greatest tournaments. Only
Showcase Games off of Nelson Street, 226. Come on down and play your card games here.
Will, you're funny. So we ended up having our skirmish. You ended up top fouring.
Top four.
You pivoted.
Both of us.
We did. We both did. I might have to do my own video this way, right? I can never win one of these damn things. You hard pivoted from another deck
2 days ago.
2 days ago, and you decided on Lexi.
Hard pivot from Briar. I was actually doing the Cheerios Lightning Briar at first. That's what I played in Orlando.
And you also got top 8 at the last Blitz skirmish.
Skirmish, yeah.
Last week, yeah.
And that was with Cheerios Briar, and it did well.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking to myself, like, eventually people are going to evolve, and I saw a video, some other group of card people, not the card guys, put up a video talking about hybrid Briar. It's the new hotness. Don't listen to it. It's not the new hotness. So I tried
At least
out.
in Blitz.
At least in Blitz. Because
Yeah.
for me, the Channel Mount Heroic, if you don't see it, it just doesn't do it. But then I stumbled upon this Lexi whole idea of Death Dealer, and everybody you play against is going to see Death Dealer and think like, oh, he's doing the lightning thing. He's doing Snapshot. This deck doesn't run a single Snapshot. It actually only runs one lightning card in it. This is all ice. This is
Cool. What was your what were your matchups like, so people kind of know what you played against?
So I played every single match was actually pretty close.
Yeah.
So it don't think that this is just the list, but it's a list.
It's a list.
So I played Dorinthia round 1. I played Ira round 2. That was where I caught my first loss of the day.
To Alex, who's currently playing the finals and losing to Oldham.
Yes, to the guy who's currently in the finals right now. Then I played Briar.
And then you played Chase.
And then I played Chase, who was on Dorinthia, the man, the one. And then I played another Briar, and that was didn't catch another loss.
So you were 4-1 after the Swiss rounds.
4-1 after Swiss.
And then you ended up playing in top 8 and played another Briar and beat him in top 8.
Yep.
Okay,
So this deck is built to beat Briar.
Yeah, sure.
I put it together because I figured, Briar's still popular, and it poops on him.
Yeah.
Now, we'll see if Briar's still in the sunlight in the future, but for right now, hey, if you're looking to set down Briar in your local groups,
play Ice Lexi, right?
here you go.
And
it's
then
a cheap deck.
and then you beat Briar, and then in top 4 you end up losing to Alex again.
Yes.
The same Ira player you lost to in round 2.
Same Ira that got me my only loss on the day, got me out of the top 8.
He's a seasoned ninja player.
He's
You
a
can't be
seasoned
mad at
ninja
that.
player.
He was my loss too.
Yeah, it was a great match.
My 2 losses were the 2 people that got first and second, so here we are.
And if you're losing to Briar, and not Briar, if you're losing to Ira and Blitz, that's fine. She's really good in Blitz.
Right. All right. Well, let's look at your list. Let's go over the equipment first, and then we'll go from there. So, obviously, we have the Lexi. Why did you end up choosing Death Dealer over like a Voltaire or any other?
Well, so Voltaire is nice. You can maybe do 2 arrows a turn. Which is cool. 2 arrows a turn is great in theory. But for me, I went Death Dealer. You draw the string of a bow to shoot an arrow. This card draws cards, and drawing cards matters.
That seems really nice.
Oh yeah,
that's a huge luxury.
Oh, card draw is beautiful, and you run Death Dealer because you need to hit your fuses in this, and you need to hit certain pumps and certain arrows. So card draw off a Death Dealer just gets you halfway there.
Sure. Okay. And what about we call it the fridge? Why these particular?
So
4
not
cards?
much of a fridge. It's really just a cooler. So Perch Grapplers is literally there to block. You will never pay 2 money to activate its ability.
Sure.
You are going to block with it for 2, and hopefully it blocks something that matters. Tunic, it's funny. I didn't think Tunic was going to matter. I was like, what is this going to block for 1? But no, there are times where you have to use that one resource
to get you there.
To pop off. Yeah, because if you had to block with 2 cards from hand, that one resource is going to load Death Dealer, which is going to let you draw a card.
Yeah, and then it corrects it.
Exactly.
Okay.
It corrects hands.
Okay.
So it gives you the flexibility to still block and have turns.
Now, what about the Mark and the Honing Hood? I like these. I think these are spicy.
This is the spice, actually. Because a lot of people are going to think, oh, you run Shock Charmers. In Blitz, you don't really have the time to be paying into Shock Charmers, in my opinion. The matches are too fast. It's going to be wasted resources. I like that this is a guarantee. I don't have to pay anything into it. I'm just going to flip it if you block with a card from hand. Really, the beauty is for cards right here. Blizzard Bolt. If
Yeah.
I dominate this puppy, or if I don't even dominate, and you block a card from hand, even if you block it out and I need you to get a frostbite, I break this. Now you're taking 1 damage and you're getting a frostbite, because as long as this is fused and I deal damage,
because
you get a
this deals the
frostbite.
damage. Okay.
So that essentially, Mark just deals a little extra damage in case I need to sneak a lethal through, or realistically, it's to pump out more extra frostbites and stuff like that. Honing Hood. Honing Hood is great.
Sneaky good, I think. Yeah.
So Honing Hood is there because you never want to go first in this deck. You want to go second.
You want to go second?
Every single time.
Okay.
Against everyone. Doesn't matter who you're fighting, you want to go second because you're going to block with 3 cards. You're going to keep the last ice card in hand. Then you're going to break Honing Hood right off the bat. Like as soon as they're done attacking, when they go to Arsenal and they're thinking you're not going to do anything because you're on Death Dealer, what can you do instantly? Break Honing Hood, drop the ice card into your arsenal, draw up with them. Now you've got an arsenal right off of turn
give
1.
them
Them
their
going
frostbite.
first. You can lead with a frostbite off of Lexi right off the bat.
Okay.
And that's the whole thing with this deck. You're giving a frostbite every single turn. Every single turn. And that's why Briar has
It
such a
adds
hard
up,
time.
right?
Oh,
It adds up.
Yeah, yeah. Because, I mean, in the turns where you give them 2 or 3 frostbites, get out of here. But
Right.
having 1 frostbite a turn for Dorinthia, for Briar, they have delicate curves. And 1 frostbite can throw that off.
Yeah. Definitely. But let's get into your list here. Obviously, it's 40 cards. Let's get into your red arrows and your red cards. So you have your red attacks and then your red non-attacks. So take me through this on why you played certain cards here.
All right, so this deck is all ice. It's all it cares about is ice. So what are your good ice arrows? You've got these, and you've got Flake Out.
Yeah.
So Blizzard Bolt, when it's fused, makes a frostbite on hits. Chilling Ice Vein, so good. When it's fused, if it hits, they have to pay 1 resource or discard a card. You're getting cards.
You're getting
out of their
value
hands,
out of that regardless,
which is
right?
amazing. And then Cold Wave is actually, some people run Flake Out, but Flake Out is just Dominate if you fuse it. I have so many sources of Dominate, I don't care about that.
Sure.
Cold Wave is really, it's for Oldham. It's
Yeah.
to make those defense reactions cost more, to get my Dominates through for extra damage so I can actually whittle them down. Oldham is a nightmare in Blitz, as we're currently seeing. So this actually has a lot of play. It even has play into Ira, too, because it makes those Flick Flacks cost more, too.
Okay.
So I like Cold Wave, actually. I'm a fan of it.
What about 3 of a kind? Did you like this card?
Oh, 3 of a kind is awesome. It doesn't seem like much on this because, I'm not running a double arsenal. I don't have a way to do more than 1 load off of a bow since I'm running Death Dealer. But when you have no ice cards in hand, or if you have like 1 pump and 1 arrow, pitch a blue, play your pump, load Death Dealer, and then you need a fuse. You got to fuse every single arrow if you're going to win here. So what do? You play 3 of a kind. You draw 3 cards. Like, yeah, you can only play from Arsenal here, but you don't care about that. You're shooting the arrow that's already loaded, and you're fusing one of those 3 cards to make sure you get your hit effect.
Okay.
And then, it's also good if you need an arrow. So you don't have an arrow. Play 3 of a kind. You'll find an arrow.
Okay.
And then we'll move on to the pumps. Invigorate.
Vigorate +4 if you fuse.
It's a
That's
0
absurd.
for 4. It's just too good. You
just makes
fuse every
dominating
single
insane.
arrow, you're going to get the +4.
Yeah.
It's great. And it costs 0.
Yeah.
Weave Ice costs 0, +3, and if you fuse, it gets Dominate. That's why I said you don't need Flake Out. You're going to dominate a lot of the time because you're running this red one and
Built
the
the
other
deck
colors
to
too.
dominate somehow, some way.
Speaking of more pumps, Icequake, +3, cost 1, which I don't love, but you're going to usually have a tunic counter or a blue. You only ever spend 2 to load the bow, and then you draw a card, and then you shoot the arrow, so you're fine.
And then if you're dominating it, they get a frostbite on hit anyway.
Exactly.
Like it's really.
So Icequake, +3, frostbite on hit, beautiful.
I'm paying 1 for that frostbite all the time, right?
This
Like,
card's so good.
is that Winter's Bite? That's
Winter's Bite, on paper, I was like, this card is terrible. I don't care. No. Them having to pay 3, if they don't have a blue in hand, then they're going to discard or they're going to pay 2 cards, which is just beautiful when they do that.
Yeah.
But it's just getting cards out of hand.
It's guaranteed value, right? It's a
guaranteed
1
value.
for 1 at that point. Like at worst, it's a 1 for 1.
Yeah, at
and
worst,
at best,
it's
it's
a
a 1
1
for
for
2, and you just push in more damage.
And that's
Okay.
the thing. You're doing frostbites and you're making them lose cards.
Yeah.
That's how you win. Polar Blast, another source of dominate, and the beauty about this one, you play it from Arsenal, draw a card. Another way to hunt for your red arrows and for your fuse cards.
Just replaces itself and can give you dominate.
And most people
that's a
aren't
great
going to pay for dominate. Some people will, which is awesome. But it's just like late game, suddenly they have to start paying for it. If they're all low on life, then suddenly they have to pay for Polar Blast to stop you from having dominate. As I saw with Weave Ice, you're usually going to have dominate anyways, so it's just another way to get a card out of their hand. And then you just do dominate anyways.
Sure.
Same deal with these arrows. It's just the yellow versions of the arrows I was already running.
Okay. So they're all hitting for 4 instead of 5?
Yes.
Okay.
But that's fine. You can usually get off a pump. Then you got the blue arrows, same thing as that, and the blue non-attack actions, also same thing.
Also
It's
the same stuff.
You need the ice diffuse.
Winter's Bite is
They
really
all
good
have
still.
great effects. Winter's Bite for one is just fine. Polar Blast for one is just fine. It's just like, and then more ways to get Dominate. Weave Ice is so good. I don't even care if it's +1. It's
Exactly.
great.
It's like I said, you're just trying to get the value and trying to get cards out of their hand to make things more awkward for them, especially when they don't have a card in their hand and you give them a frostbite or two and then they just have to pass, right? And so
Yeah, it's beautiful when people have 2 frostbites and then they're just like, all right, on my turn, personal pass.
yeah, like actually, right?
It's
So,
great.
and then you're playing the Pulse of Old Head.
And this is what I call the Oldham killer. You
Okay.
need to beat Oldham, in my opinion. You need to invigorate, you need to pulse, and you need to go ahead and throw down a red Weave Ice and a red arrow. All these things together is 16 damage. And 16 at Dominate, if you can pull off the fuse, is kind of a killer in Blitz.
Oh, that's really good.
So, that's the deck. It's really fun. If you have trouble with Briars in your locals, please build it.
By all means, it's not that much.
The only expensive card in here is
like the
admittedly
Tunic.
is Tunic, but everything else is pretty darn affordable.
Yeah,
Even 3 of a kind
these are
isn't
like
that
these
bad.
are like $15 now, not
Like,
even maybe.
this deck is kind of on the cheap. I know Tunic is the thing, but you maybe could just run a Heart and Cross Trap. You know,
Heart and Cross Trap or like
it
Code
could be
of
fine.
Code of
Something to pay for
Frost
the
or
air
something.
Code of Frost, something like that. You know, this is really nice when it's really nice. It's not necessary.
Yeah.
And it's fun. It's a fun deck. Have fun with it.
Well, man, congrats on top 4. You only lost to 2 Iras, the same guy. Whatever.
he's a cool guy, though.
He's a neat fella, right? Well, appreciate the deck tech video
Thanks
with
so
us. Any shout outs you want to give?
Shout out to Sebastian Cavallo. Shout out to my buddy Bob, the local champion of Gigabytes. Watch out for him.
Freaking Bob.
And shout out to all the Flesh and Blood players out there.
I love this community.
Keep it up, you guys.
It's pretty neat.
Keep being cool people.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much. Don't forget to leave a like on the video, subscribe if you haven't already, and we're gonna get.
Smash that like button.
All right. Well, we'll see you guys later.